Turn it up. Real recognize real. Real recognize real. Turn it. Got it. Come on, Brad. Later, later, later. Come get this flavor, y'all. Real recognize real. Real recognize real. That's real. Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it. Real recognize real. Yes. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Real Recognize Real Talk radio show with Franchella and my girl
Lynette.
Hey. So we are so excited because we have two awesome brothers right now in the studio. And but before we get started, we want to say that, you know, we thank you for tuning in, for rocking with us and rolling with us, and we appreciate y'all. And don't forget to call in, because I know you guys have some questions. You have some comments about the topic today. So without further ado, Lynette, why don't you introduce our first guest?
So we would like to welcome Clayton Prince to the Real Recognize Real Talk radio show on Philly Hot Radio. So many of you may know Clayton for his role as Denise's boyfriend, who played Lisa Bonet, boyfriend in the long-standing hit show, The Cosby Show. I remember that episode because that was one of my favorites.
Yeah, better than that. Edmond.
I was like, I'll say Edmond. Yeah. So, Clayton is an actor. He's a writer. He is also a producer, a singer, and a director. I didn't know about the singing part. We might have to see.
Yeah, exactly.
He is right here in Philadelphia. He also played in several hit movies such as The Last Dragon, Cover, Hairspray, on a television show called Another World, Dark Justice, also on the Wayans Brothers, as well as Spin City, to name a few.
I've been doing your homework, huh?
Yeah,
you don't know that we stalking you.
So you now have your own production company called Magic Management. And under that umbrella spawned the web series that he produced called Cream, baby.
Yes, Cream. So this is why we are actually here today to talk about what's going on with Cream. So, you know, without even going into what I know and what I've heard, I'll let you speak.
Well, let me split this one. So, Cream is it's an hour-long drama. We have 4 episodes up on Amazon Prime right now. I think Comcast has some interest in airing the episodes that we already produced. But Cream is a TV show about a man from Philly who owns a record label, and his baby mom is always trying to take the record label from him and use their adult children to help her take control of the record label.
Winston St.
There's a lot of
James.
original, yes. Winston St. James is the lead man from Philly who owns a record label, and so it's a lot of original hip hop R&B music that we got from a lot of people right here in Philly, and that's why I actually came back to Philly, because I thought, I know there's more talented people from Philly than just me, so let me go back home, use some of these people, and get them out there, and that was the idea behind Cream. So I produced some episodes. Actually, I produced a few episodes back in 2005, and that's when I had a copyright done. And but a lot of people just said, this show's too risque. This is it's just too much out there. Can't do nothing with it. Then in 2008, I met this brother named Lee Daniels, and I pitched him my idea about this TV show about a guy from Philly who owns a record label. Baby mom was always trying to use kids, take it from him. He said, "Man, that show's brilliant. I've never heard anything like that. Does anybody else know about this?" And I thought that was an odd question to bring up at a business meeting, but I said, no, not too many people know about it. That's what I'm trying to get out there. I was hoping he could walk to the network for me. So I didn't hear from him. So in 2010, I produced 4 episodes out of pocket, which is what you can see now on Amazon Prime. So that was back in 2010. And then I met this guy in LA who he said, I can pitch this to you for the big networks. I was excited. And in September or October of 2014, he said, I'm trying to pitch this show, but someone's saying that there's another show coming out that's a lot like this, and that your show is almost like a lower budget version of that show, so no one wants to touch it. And I was like, what show is coming out like this? Because there's no show on television about a black man from Philadelphia who owns a record label, who has family drama, and the family's trying to take this show from him. There's no show like that. So in January of 2015, I hear about the premiere of
Empire.
I was like, wow. Well, who came up with this idea? Lee Daniels, who I met, who had proof. I'm going to show you all the proof that I have, because I want y'all just to take my word for it.
Right.
I have all these documents right here proving everything I'm saying. So I said, wow, but just because someone has the same concept doesn't mean that they stole anything. That's law, and I respect that. So I watched a couple episodes. I was like, oh, he's using that storyline. Oh, he's using that storyline. He's using a lot of storylines. For example, in mine, Winston St. James has an adult son who has some mental issues. And every once in a while, that his mental issues, he'll say his name in third person. But he has more severe mental issues. But when you think about it, it makes more sense that someone who has more severe mental issues would say their name in third person. People who are bipolar do not speak of themselves in the third person.
Right.
But for some reason, everyone has swallowed that with his version of my show. Allegedly, like I said, allegedly his version of my show. Right. But with all those comparisons, that he changed little things, and even in court, we said, it makes no sense. If you're a writer, it makes no sense that you would write a character unless you did no research as a writer. That you would write a character who speaks about himself in third person because he's bipolar. And their defense was, well, maybe he's just a bad writer, but he didn't steal nothing. So if your defense is that you're bad, what kind of defense is that? But anyway, I digress. So with all those storylines that were similar, that's when I felt like, okay, I have a legitimate reason to file a lawsuit against Lee Daniels. So, but I had to have proof. So, first of all, I'll show you all this. This is a screenshot of my Facebook page from 2010. You can see the date on that, 2010, when I had a screening of Cream.
Can I see it?
Now, so I'm not doing all the talking.
Actually, I'm gonna have you hold it up. It's better to have you. Yeah,
Well,
you hold it
I'll
up
hold
so
it
they.
up real quick
There
like
you
that.
go. There you
Alright,
go.
So y'all can see that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ladies could read the date on that screenshot, and then read just the tagline and how I describe cream.
So
October
October 4th,
4th, 2010
was when Clayton Prince posted his cream idea on his Facebook page.
Which is
And it
cream.
says, Winston St. James soon discovers that it's lonely at the top. He must defend his empire. Big Baller Records, from the greedy hands of family, friends, and lovers. How does he keep it all together? You'll just have to come out and see. Cream.
And that
Wow.
date was how many years before the premiere of Empire?
Empire.
But I called my show
Cream.
and I described it as Empire.
Right.
So that's one little piece of evidence.
Evans.
Right? So, but even though I had that, that still doesn't prove anything. Even though I discovered that his sister was one of my friends on Facebook, which means access to this.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I didn't realize that until I was writing something about Lee Daniels. You know, you write something on Facebook, and everybody's name pops up.
So this was 2010,
Right.
and when did Empire hit?
2015.
2015.
Right, 2015.
Okay.
That's the
Okay.
premiere. I think
Okay.
they did 13 episodes at first, 15 episodes first season. So now, so I had that, and I had, so I had those episodes, and like I said, I was writing Lee's name on my Facebook.
Okay.
You know, people's name pop up,
Right.
and it says, like, oh, you must be one of your friends. So the name Leah Daniels Butler popped up. And I was like, who's Leah Daniels Butler? So I clicked on it, and Leah Daniels Butler is his sister,
Mm-hmm.
who also has a credit in
In-
Empire
Right.
for being,
Casson.
casting director, and
Mhm.
he also said in an interview once that she helped direct a couple of scenes.
Mm.
So now that's direct access, but that's just for the name and the premise
Right.
and the episodes that I had posted. So then, but I met him at a function held here in the city called the Philly Pitch, which is run by the Philadelphia Film Office, and I'm friends with everybody down there. So I was very confident and felt I didn't feel like any kind of threat that anybody's going to steal anything. I mean, I had a copyright, so, and plus the people who run this event are my friends at the Philadelphia Film Office. And
Now this was after Empire's launch?
no, this is 2008 when I actually met him. But when it came out, I went back to the film office and I said, hey, a lot of people may not believe that I've met Lee Daniels. Would you guys write on your letterhead that I pitched him some ideas back in 2008? And here's the letter that they wrote me on their letterhead.
On a letterhead, because I used them a lot for my casting, so
There you go.
I'm familiar with
So
this.
there you go. So it's right there. And so they said that I pitched two at the bottom,
Feature films.
one feature film and
Right.
a TV
TV
concept.
concept.
called
Cream. Cream.
Right. So they verified that I did meet him, and they mentioned his name. They mentioned him by name. So I thought, okay, that's great. So after they wrote me the letter, I said, yeah, and y'all also videotaped it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, why do you have all this sudden interest in the videotape after you met him so many years ago? I said, well, I'm just, so happy that, he has all this success, and I want to show people that I met him, blah, blah, blah. And so they said, we got to look for it. We got to look for this videotape. Evidently, they looked at it and they saw it, and I'm assuming they got a little nervous. So they started telling me that they didn't know anything about a videotape.
Oh, yeah.
And then they started saying, and now that we think about it, maybe you didn't even pitch Cream. Even though
So let's get this straight. So the letter from with the letterhead was what date was that?
February of 2015.
2015.
Okay, 2015.
So then they started saying that,
Was there at this point any filing of a lawsuit?
nope,
So somebody informed them at this point that you were inquiring about.
I'm thinking
I
that
went
they
there.
saw the video.
but when they looked at that videotape
Right,
and they
said,
see
"Oh,
what
see
I
some
pitched
similarities."
Got you.
was about a man from Philadelphia who
Got
owns
you.
a record label whose family is always trying to take it from him, And wow, doesn't that sound a whole lot like this show that everybody's praising Lee Daniels for?
Got you.
But because it was at their event, they had fear, allegedly.
Allegedly.
And I think
Right.
that they might be held liable for holding the event and not having him sign anything, saying that he wouldn't steal anything. But these were my friends.
Right.
I wouldn't do that to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was going to them for help.
Mm-hmm.
But my friends started telling me in these emails that they don't know anything about a video. My friends started telling me that now that we think about it, we don't even think you pitched Cream. But my friends didn't know that one of the other judges also confirmed in an email that I pitched Cream at the event. So when they publicly said that they didn't know nothing about it, they didn't know that one of their friends was contradicting them by way of email. So and they said that to a bunch of people, and they kept saying, I don't know anything. And I said, well, do you remember who shot it? Do you remember who shot the video? And my friends at the Greater Philadelphia Film Office kept saying, we don't remember who shot that. We use so many people, we don't remember. We just don't know. I said, is a short list of people you use? They said, we really don't know. We really don't know. As you can see in those emails, they kept saying, we told, because other people started asking for me, because I was asking everybody in the film community in Philly, do you know the videographer who shot that event? So after they disputed that they knew, finally found out who the guy was. This guy named Rob Cates. Rob Cates has been, but from his stuff, Rob Cates has been working for the Philadelphia Film Office since 2004.
Okay.
So for somebody that they didn't know who it was, they forgot to check who they worked with since 2004.
Mm-hmm.
So these are my friends. So now I'm starting to think, wow, maybe my friends aren't so friendly toward me.
Mm-hmm.
So when I found the video, and so I called this gentleman up, and I said, do you have the video? He said, yes, I do have the video. I have the footage that you're looking for of you pitching Cream, but I can't give it to you because it's the property of the Philadelphia Film Office. So I was like, wow. So y'all, I need that video that you said you don't have. This man has it. Needs your permission because you own it. Yeah, they wouldn't give it to me. So then I had to get a subpoena.
I was going to say, you probably
I had
can
to get a subpoena. So then we get a subpoena. Lord, they chopped that bad boy up so much that you never hear me say the word Cream at the event, even though it's been established by 2 documents that I pitched Cream.
But are you describing it, whether you said Cream or not?
No, they only showed the one.
Uh-oh, somebody wants to talk to.
Oh, that's fine. But they only showed the one, as this letter said, I pitched 2.
We have a
Then they said they
caller.
pitched 1.
We
Hello,
have a caller on the line, so we're going to put you through. Hi, thank you for calling Real Recognize Real at Philly Hot Radio. Who are we speaking to?
Sharon Gerke.
Hi, Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
Hi, I have a question.
Hey, Sharon.
Okay.
Sure.
What are your thoughts on the lady who also says that she was the creator of Empire?
Are
I
you
don't know if you're familiar with her.
Yes, are you referring to the woman from Detroit?
Yeah, so
Yes.
what's your take on her?
Oh, I have a strong opinion on all 3 people. There are 3 other people who filed. 3 other people have filed a lawsuit against Lee Daniels. So I'm going to answer your question, and I'm also going to encompass about the other 2, if you don't mind.
Oh, no.
Okay, because I want to be complete.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
No,
Yeah.
I've done a little bit of research on this subject. So there was one gentleman from New York. He wrote a script, and he envisioned Richard Roundtree playing the lead, and that he only had a daughter, and there was no Cookie type of character at all. And there went to be an original music show, and the judge turned it down.
I'm sorry. Can we disconnect you just in case we have other callers so you can listen to his answer through our website? Caller? Hello?
Hello.
Okay. So you can
So
go ahead.
please listen to his response on our website, and thank you for calling in.
I don't want to be long-winded, but I want
Right.
to answer as completely as I can. So his case was thrown out because for a copyright infringement case, you have to prove 3 things. 1, that you owned a copyright before anybody else. 2, you had direct access to that person. You have to be able to prove that you met with a person, and at that meeting, you have to be able to prove that you spoke about your project, i.e. an email or i.e. a letter who would collaborate, or a video, or whatever you can, but you have to be able to prove that. And the third is substantial similarity. How similar is your project to the one that you said that they stole from? So the gentleman from New York, he could not prove direct access, and the judge said because he didn't have a character that was anything like Cookie, and that Cookie was such a main character, he threw it out. And that was the end of his lawsuit. There was a gentleman from LA. I don't know his name, and I hope I do not offend him or anybody in the audience, but he is a self-described pimp from LA.
Okay.
And so he said that he met Terrence Howard at a hotel, and that he asked Terrence Howard to do a story about his life, and that he did some music, but mainly he was a pimp, and that he said the character of I was about to say Winston St. James, but Lucius Lyons was a lot like his character, his persona, and but that was thrown out because again he had no copyright, and it was like a third person access, and because Terrence Howard has no creative credit, Terrence Howard never claimed to write it or co-write it or put any ideas in. That kind of squashed that, and also the substantial similarity between that man's life and the show, there wasn't much. So then the woman from Detroit, she actually has gone the farthest out of all four of us, legally speaking. The lady from Detroit, I believe her name is Eggleston. She wrote a book on her life. She said that the character of Cookie was based on her. I don't know how much involvement she's had in music, but she said that she was a drug dealer and that she ordered a hit on someone, and she went to jail for I think roughly 17 years. I don't know if it's the same amount, but it was a very similar amount of years that she went to jail for. And she said she had a gay son, and she said that she was known for wearing minks and clothing that was like Cookie. And so a lot of people, she said, thought the character of Cookie was based on her and the book that she wrote. She wrote a book, and she asked a writer from LA if that writer would write a screenplay, and then shop that screenplay around for her. Her legal case was she had the copyright, which she did, which I don't believe predated mine, but she did have a copyright. And she said that her direct access was that all people in Hollywood must know each other, and that woman, that female writer, must have gotten her idea to Lee Daniels, and that she must have gotten some kind of deal through Lee Daniels for creating the story. And she had, I believe, 15 or 23 similarities that she claimed were similar. And she got past the 12B6 motion, and which is motion to dismiss, which pretty much says if someone is making a ridiculous claim, or someone's claim actually has merit. So the man from New York, he was thrown out at 12B6, motion to dismiss. The man from LA was thrown out at 12B6, and I also was thrown out at 12B6, motion to dismiss, because they said that my show was nothing at all like Empire, that no one could ever confuse the two concepts. Though they did, the judges admit that my copyright predated everyone's, and the judges did admit that there was direct access, that I did pitch the idea, but they said there wasn't enough similarities. So, but the law, just want to school y'all for whatever the laws, there's a law established in a case called Rice versus Fox Broad Inc., I believe. And that's a legal precedent where it was said that the greater proof of access that you have, the least amount of evidence you have to present for a substantial similarity to get past 12B6, motion to dismiss. So in court, they did not deny my copyright, or they did not deny my access, which meant I should have automatically, by law, gone to what they call summary judgment, past motion to dismiss. I feel like somebody with influence did not want me to depose anybody, did not want me to go to discovery with anybody because we have a whole lot more evidence than what I'm showing y'all here.
Right, absolutely.
We have a whole lot more. But I haven't even shown you all my evidence yet because I still got these forms right here. But we have so much. But I hope that answered your question. I know it was very complete. But like I said, I'm not running from nobody's question. I want everybody.
Well, I mean, so many people will say they have similarities in a film. They might see something and, think it's their life or whatever. The key with you is, but this is where you're having trouble proving it, is that you pitched it. So my thing is, like, I have different screenplays that I also have copywritten. But you have to actually know where to go, and you have to actually read someone's whole script to know that your story is the same as somebody else's story. I can't see where the copyright really protects us that much, because even searching, unless you know the exact name somebody told you, oh, there's cream out there, you should read that first, it doesn't really allow you to search on what the show is really about.
Yes. And it's funny because a lot of people who are fans of Empire, everybody has the same complaint about the show, that the first season was so much different from the second and third. Didn't everybody say that?
Yeah.
It was just like, wow, it's almost like someone else wrote the first season, right?
Right.
It's
If
almost
you're
like,
just tuning in, you're listening to Clayton Prince.
but everybody says that. It's almost like the great Lee Daniels couldn't continue the story that he allegedly wrote. So, but if you look at the 4 episodes of Cream that were shot in 2010, you'll see a very strong similarity between the first season of Empire and those 4 episodes. That's my point.
So who else was in that room when you pitched the idea to Lee Daniels?
There were a lot of people, and there are 2 other people who are willing to testify, but now the judges will not let anyone say that because we were thrown out at 12B6. But we told them. We have one sworn affidavit letter from one of the people who are willing to testify, and the judge was like, "Well, we will never hear them."
So my
Get a new judge.
right.
Well, here's the thing. So we went to one judge, the Honorable Judge Slomsky, in the federal court building, and he went against this. His ruling was, and get here. He brought up the videotape in court, and we, one of my lawyers said, be that as it may, I would also surely like to address the video that was attached, and the judge said okay, and we said because I think there was a lot made of that in this same case, Your Honor, now you're asking not only to apply the 12B6 standard because of this, and the court pretty much said, well, because I don't want to read the whole thing, the court said, the judge said, well, I can't consider anything outside the complaint. It has to be either inside the complaint or attached to it. And because we're ready to fight it, and so my lawyer said, okay. So the court said, the judge said, a video that raises a credibility question is beyond the purview of what I can consider at this point. So my lawyer said, okay. And then that's perfect. I'll leave that argument alone. Judge said, okay. Then when he ruled against me, the judge said in his words, let's see, the allegation, however, is disproved by a video recording of the Philly pitch, the video he said he couldn't use. He says, it's disproved by the video, the recording of Philly pitch, which clearly shows the plaintiff pitched only the film and to the panel of judges, not Cream.
Wow. So he's basically saying that it's not the same show only because you had a $10,000 budget and they had a $10 million budget, allegedly.
No, that's what the appellate court said. So we appealed that. So in our proof and evidence with the appellate court, the other side admitted, okay, he was there, he did pitch it, and they admitted that. And the judge made sure they repeated that. And there's actually video of that online if you want to look up the federal courts. The judges repeated it, and they said that. They're not disputing my credit, or my copyright, not disputing the access. They were only disputing the substantial similarity, which they're not allowed to do with the 12B6 point, especially if they already concede with access. But the judges said, well, you know, Empire had a scene on a yacht. You didn't have no yacht.
Oh my God.
That's documented. Those are their words.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, superficial similarities notwithstanding, we don't feel that Crane is like Empire.
Wow. So, a question for you. So, when you went to pitch this to Lee Daniels, did you fill out any paperwork? Did you get a copy or a sign that you were, prior to asking for this document, that you were proof that you were there? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure back then, this was 2000 and when you pitched it, no, it wasn't 15, 2008. I'm not sure where we were with social media in 2008. But usually, you know, I carry my phone everywhere with me. If I'm like, come on, can we take a selfie? I'm not sure where social media was at that point in time, but did you yourself, besides the copyright, protect yourself in going in and speaking with them? I put my phone on a record in a heartbeat.
I don't think maybe I was just being cheap. Maybe I didn't have a phone that had a video camera back in 2008. I don't know. I really don't remember.
But even with the pitch session, did they have any forms that you feel? Yeah.
I don't remember word for word. I don't have it in front of me. I can only tell you that I did not sign anything that said I would not hold anyone liable if my ideas were stolen. And Lee Daniels did not sign anything saying that he would not steal anybody's idea. And whose responsibility was that? It could be said, because I have to say allegedly talking. It could be said. It could be argued.
Well, why do you have to say allegedly when you feel as though he's for what?
For legalities, because I was ruled against.
Okay.
If I say something is an absolute, then that can be considered slander.
Okay.
And they can come back on me. So I have to say allegedly, and I feel.
Okay.
On everything that I feel is the truth, I have to say I feel.
Okay.
So please pardon that double talk that I must legally say, but that's why I'm using those words. So I feel that it was the film office responsibility that Lee Daniels signed something saying he would not steal something, no matter what he's accomplished before.
Right.
And it was their responsibility for them to have me sign something
to protect all the rights,
saying that I wouldn't that I wouldn't hold them liable.
Right.
If one of the people that they hired stole something. So it's kind of like this. Let's say that you own a consignment store, and you hire me to be an employee to sell things that people bring in. Now, let's say you bought one of your things that you thought was valuable to him to sell. I saw that and I stole it. I'm his employee. I stole it. Who's liable legally? Of course, I am, because I would be the thief.
Right.
But it was in your store that happened. So by law, the people who are responsible, the store owner who hired the thief,
right,
me, and me, of course, being the thief.
Right.
That's law.
Wow.
So in that argument, Lee Daniels would be responsible, but also the film office would be.
So what are you asking for in this lawsuit? What do you want to see accomplished?
Just what's fair. I want whatever the law says is fair for someone who's the creator of the #1 show and creates the concept. That's what I would like. It's been documented that I don't have it here, but everyone knows the story. It's a very famous story.
Right.
Where he says, Lee Daniels has claimed that he got the idea when a gentleman, Danny Strong, called him up and said, hey, let's do a movie based on Jay-Z's life. And that Lee Daniels claims that he said, yeah, well, let's make it a TV show instead of a movie, even though neither one of them ever worked on television. You know that? Yeah, I thought that was funny too. So, but you read my history in television. You know what my history is in television.
Right.
So, but allegedly, from what he has said publicly, that he said, well, we should make it a TV show. And this guy, Danny Strong, said it should be a movie about Jay-Z's life. And then, allegedly, Lee Daniels has said, well, we should make it like a Shakespearean thing, like King Lear. So it'll be a mixture of King Lear and Jay-Z's life. Now, so if Danny Strong got half credit for just saying, let's make a movie about Jay-Z's life, then the argument should be whose idea is more similar to Empire? A movie based on Jay-Z's life or Cream?
Right.
So anybody who's a Jay-Z fan, do y'all see any similarities between Jay-Z's life?
Not at all.
So then by that definition, by law, shouldn't I have had at least half credit of creating it? If Cream is more similar to Empire, then Danny Strong but I feel that Lee Daniels was using Danny Strong as a scapegoat because he knew he was stealing something.
Have you had a chance to speak to Lee Daniels, or?
I have not seen him since that day
Okay.
at the Philly pitch.
Okay.
So I've not been able to.
Okay.
I'd love to talk to him just like Dame Dash did.
Yeah,
I'd love to.
absolutely.
For some reason, I have not been able
So
to.
I had the pleasure of watching Cream. I did check out the first 2 episodes of Cream, and you can't compare because yes, a budget does change things, and so it's on a lower scale. But my thing was that the vision. So I'm saying that it's not that he allegedly stole your show Cream, but he allegedly stole your vision of Cream, which is about a Philly artist who built this empire. And you know, you had similarities with you having a disease and Lucius having a disease. 2 different diseases, but it's still a disease. You know, your mother, it was just a lot of different, you know, saying your artist was horrible, but I mean, on Cream, but it is what it is.
Well, you know, it's funny because a lot of people don't remember the storyline from the first season, but you're referring to one artist, Brother Okido.
Sky.
Yeah, Sky. Oh,
Yes, I know Sky Dennis,
Right,
yes.
So Sky Dennis played a character named Brother Okido, who was challenged in his performing ability. But in the first season, if you recall, what is her name? She's a white female singer. She was married to Kurt Cobain. Courtney Love.
Courtney Love, okay.
Courtney Love. Remember the first season? Remember she was a woman. She was in drugs and she couldn't sing no more. And Cookie was trying to work with her, and every time, just like Brother Okie-doke, right?
Right.
Winky Dick.
It was it. She was trying to get her together.
That's
she,
right.
She
And
you got some gold with this. Like, come on, I remember it.
That's
She was on drugs.
Exactly.
Wow.
Very much.
Wow.
Very, very
See?
much. So,
Okay.
y'all should be the jury.
Yeah, you don't know? Yeah, absolutely.
So
Okay.
that's yet another similarity. Thank you for bringing that up.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
There's a whole lot of similarities. So I feel that all he did was he took my work as a template, and he said, okay, instead of making this, whatever, and he changed little things. Like I said, it's different diseases,
Right.
And the judges in the appellate court said, well, they're different diseases, and since they're different diseases that your character gets and Lucius gets, then they're going to go into different directions. But it's like, no, they're both lying to everybody about having the disease. They're both diseases that can be handled with medication, and they're both chronic. They both never go away.
So what's the
diseases nonetheless? Like, what difference
And
does it make?
and it's funny because at my meeting with Lee was like, "Why would you have the Lee have a disease? That's crazy. Why would you have him so sick?" And he said, "That's never been done. Why would you do something like that?" I said, "Exactly, because it's never been done before."
right?
And plus, because it's television, you want sponsorship, and who has more money than the pharmaceutical companies? You went, "Oh my God, that's so brilliant! Oh my God, who else knows about this? Who else did you talk to about this?" He kept saying that at my pitch. But again, this was all on video,
Right.
so I wasn't concerned because my good friends at the Philadelphia Film Office had the video. So like you were saying, that you knew that you would have a video, you'd have your phone. I had my friends at the Philadelphia Film Office videotaping it.
Your alleged friends.
My alleged friend. Because here's the thing, what you were saying that you would do, and you would have your phone secretly recording. See, that is by law illegal wiretap. So in court, you wouldn't be able to use that phone. But because the Philadelphia Film Office had an official cameraman in everyone's face, and it was known that it was being videotaped, I could use that if my friends at the Philadelphia Film Office would have given it to me.
Wow. So we got to wrap this up right now. We want to thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story with us. I'm sure it's helping out, so many people that are listening who are in the industry who might have similar cases or, trying to get into the industry and trying to protect themselves with what they have going on. So we thank you so much. And
what advice would you give to people who have stories and, you know what I mean, like similar to...
Oh, here's the thing that I really need people to get a little angry about right now, because my case has actually created a precedent, which means that anytime someone might steal your work and they change little things like the name of a disease or someone's name or little things like that, but still keep the same storyline, like we were talking about with the other storyline, still keep the same storyline. Because of my case, people can steal your work right now, bro. And it won't even matter how much money you put behind it, because all the laws that were established before are now, they don't mean anything because of the precedent that's been created from my case. So unless, and I have videotape, not only videotape of me meeting him,
right,
but videotape of Cream, which predates his,
right,
with all the similarities. And you ladies have seen the show, so you've seen all the similarities.
Right.
So imagine having all those similarities and proof of access and the copyright.
And still
not acknowledging it. So we're trying to start a petition. If you go to my Facebook page at Clayton Prince on Facebook, please come to my Facebook page and sign the petition that we have, because we're trying to go to the Supreme Court on this.
And that's change.org, correct?
Yes, that's change.org.
Okay.
So we're trying to get that petition out there. That's really important. And I hope people just don't think this is about me.
Right.
Because right now, no one who's written a song, no one has written a play, no one has written a book will have any protection unless you have more evidence than I have. And I can't imagine anyone who has a script. So if you just wrote a script, brother, that's nothing compared to the video that I have, the actual video of Cream from 2010. Your script is nothing compared to that. So so anyone out there who really does want to write something and who wrote from your heart, then I'm asking you to join this fight and sign up on change.org on my petition, because right now, because of this precedent, no one's going to be safe from this.
And there's so many people out there who can't afford to fight this. Right. So we want to thank you for fighting, and we wish you all the success that you get what's due to you. And we're definitely praying for you here at the Real Recognized Real Talk Radio Show on Philly Hot Radio. So right now we're going to take you out with this song. I think it fits the situation. And when we come back, we got Brad Baker in the building. We're going to talk to him about his hit stage play, Chasing Cash.
So we can do it all again, right? As far as
Don't do any song?
But because I think the angle that you probably could have done it, because you see it as a
Angela.
And Lynette.
Hey, we want to talk about this brother that we have in the building right now. OMG. I personally had the pleasure of going to see one of his stage plays. But before that, it's so funny how in this industry, you really don't know everybody. And I got a text from my sister-in-law who said, hey, I have somebody that wants to honor Dorian at their play. You know, he's the writer and producer of this production. I'm like, well, what's his name? I'm thinking I know who he is, and I actually didn't even know you, but it was a pleasure to meet you, to come and to see your show, and to connect with you. So right now we have Brad Baker in the building, and Lynette's going to give you a little background on Brad.
Okay, so welcome to the Real Recognized Real.
Thank you.
On Philly Hot Radio, Brad. So Brad is an actor. He's also a writer and a model who now has his own production company, Brad Baker Production.
Yes.
BBD. So Brad has acted in several stage plays, film, as well as web series. He also wrote his hit stage play that, Twisted Her Life, His Secret. Okay, that's wrong. Twisted Her Life, His Secret, which he later turned into a successful book under the same title. So fresh off the production of his hit stage play this November was his first project, Chasing Cash, which he produced. And it was a sold-out show.
Yes.
So congratulations and welcome to the show, Brad.
Thank you.
Yes.
So
yes.
tell us a little bit about Chasing Cash.
So Chasing Cash was a hilarious story I told about this girl named Paige, who was fleeing her ex-boyfriend who was implicated in some illegal actions. So she fled him and ended up coming back to Philadelphia to start her life over again. And as she came back to Philadelphia, she ended up going to a restaurant where she was familiar with, where she grew up at, and she meets a waiter named Chase, who was a waiter. He was in school to be a social worker, and she finds new love in this guy, Chase. And Chase is a waiter, so we deal with the storyline of basically a woman making more money than a man and how he deals with that dynamic. And then also we had our villain, which his name is Cash, hence the name Chasing Cash, who was doing insider trading, but he was implicated, so he was trying to come back to win her over to basically marry her so she can exonerate him from all the charges. But as they come back to the restaurant has their own problems as well, where they're basically going through some financial trouble, hence the name Chasing Cash, because everyone's chasing cash in some type of way. And they're trying to find different ways to keep the restaurant open, different hilarious ideas to keep it open. And we deal with a roller coaster of laughs, drama, angry, a lot of things that we set pieces up on the board to try to make people follow along and, make it interesting to try to do little twists and turns to kind of throw the audience off so it's not so much predictable as traditionally. And I hope I was able to embody that with the play itself.
Absolutely. So I commend you because a lot of our young brothers are not doing the right thing. So I commend you for walking the straight and narrow path and making a name for yourself in the industry.
Thank you.
And I had the pleasure of going to see Chasing Cash, which was phenomenal, and what also drew me to it and to you because, after I learned about, you having this production, and thank you so much for honoring my nephew Dorian Dumas, who was an inspiration to you. Absolutely. So rest in peace, Dorian. Yes, long live Dor. Yes, awesome. And so I started stalking your page, of course, because that's what I do. And to see, well, first of all, your first production was called Twisted, and of course my play was Twisted Seasons, not even knowing. So we already had a connection there already.
Bring you together.
Yes, already. Besides Dor, and just the fact that you had you gave it your all. You have a awesome design set. You know, I go to a lot of productions and they just have a chair thrown on the stage, a couch thrown on the stage, and it doesn't look presentable at all. And then, you know, they're not giving their all, because I think setting the stage says everything. That's why you can be compared to Tyler Perry, because you are giving the audience their money's worth. And I think that's commendable.
Thank you.
So just tell us a little bit about this journey and the success of it, and how easy or hard was it for you?
It was super hard. You know, first I started off as an actor. My good friend Tony Anderson, who works for BET, he's the one that put the bug in me about writing. He was like, Brad, you always tell real good stories, whether it's something personally happening in my life. He's like, yo, you should try to write. I'm like, I don't know what to write. So a couple of stories came out, and I ended up starting writing. But the process was long. It's a 7-year journey for me. I'm still working. This is probably, we was trying to master the process this time. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about anything but mastering our process. That's why I wrote Chasing Cash. It took me about 2 months to write Chasing Cash. But before I did Twisted, I did 800-seat venue, 100 people showed up. I had promoters come there that did it. They didn't believe in it. I gave 500 tickets away for free. I was like, if I hand these tickets out, I'm going to gain a fan. The money's already gone. The water's under the bridge. I can't change that. I can only control what I can control. I gave it out. So that 500 turned into, all right, I got some fan base. They was like, I loved it. So I was like, I'm going to revamp this script, and I'm going to change it into something else and modernize it. I'm going to make it my own. So I did that, and then I sold out the whole entire weekend, 2,400 seats.
Wow.
Yes.
And I was like, all right, now it's popping. So I was like, all right, now I know what I got to do. My set was rinky dink, but I was like, all right, I need to get a better set, because visually on stage, those sets look amazing. So I was like, we have to focal point on customer service, giving a great product, which we already have, and having a set so when people feel like they got their money's worth. Because I was trying to change the mold, because I'm young, I'm 34, so I was trying to change the mold of plays. A lot of people, not to knock everybody,
no, knock them.
Certain styles, you know, I was in stage before. Certain plays that I was in, I don't like certain urban theater because they're like ratchet, and I feel like we miss a big set in it when we don't send messages to our community. It's our responsibility to take those platforms to engage and provide knowledge. Not so much like message, you know, but some things that we need to be informed about in certain ways where you kind of bring light to certain situations and make it funny and modern. You know, those things are already cool, but you know, with those, there's a lot of singing, a lot of shucking and jiving, and a lot of things that are so predictable. So I just try to change the culture for the people who are like me, kind of like me and Dor,
right.
People that would never attend a play.
Right.
So when you come in there, you gain the experience. You're like, dang, that was really good. You felt like you were in a movie. You felt like you was a part of it. You know, you felt attached to the characters, and that was pretty much my goal to it all. And I think I came across this well.
So Alicia Coley says she can't wait until you bring the play to Atlanta.
Yes,
and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Leash. Thank you. Yeah, so yeah, we plan on touring this thing as well. You know, that was part of the process too.
Right. And how did you create this great team of people surrounding you? Because I know, as a playwright myself, director, producer, thank you so much. It's hard to actually get a good team together to help you through everything. Like Twisted Seasons, you know, I wrote it, I cast it, I directed it, I produced it, I had to do the music, I had to do the set, the wardrobe, everything. It was Franchella, and it can become overwhelming. Absolutely. Now, and I did it on a smaller scale than you, because, you know, his play, Chasing Cash, as I just showed you the playbill here, was at Suzanne Roberts Theater, which holds, I believe, 375 seats, and all 3 nights it was sold out. And you know, to do that, to have the fan base to sell out and have an awesome team, as everybody was introduced on your stage, besides the actors and the actresses, you had, you know, the backstage and the crew and everybody come out, which is great. How did you find these people. Or,
So it was trial and error. So being in theater, I worked with a lot of them before. A lot of them actors. My director, Walter DeShields, I've acted with him on the stage several times. Fee Goodson, I act with her as well. Kyra, I've known for years. I just met Bianca, and Larnell was actually my intern. I reached out, I was looking for interns for it. My team with Crystal and Aaron, I met through Crystal. Crystal started off as my publicist, and then we gained a relationship where I was like, you know, I think you need to be my EP. You know, you're bigger than that. We can find somebody else to fill that void, to do that job when we need it. And she introduced me to Aaron, and me and Aaron just hit off for the moment. Aaron did big concerts with bringing DMX and Monica in the city. So when we talked, he had no familiarity with doing stage plays, but he believed in me based upon what I pitched to him. I'm like, hey, I really got something going here. It's really, really good. And he blind faithed it, and we just took off from there. Like the biggest portion of when we discussed it is building a team. Because doing that, I was doing the same thing as you, and that's what I was getting lost. And that was why I only had 100 people in, because I'm acting, I'm directing, I'm building a stage, I'm with the light, I'm casting. So it's too many hats for me to wear. So it's all about building a team, word of mouth, and people directing me to the smarter people in the room. That's what I'm big on, is finding people that are smarter than me in those niches to form a team that'll help me drive to do that. Because people see that as, oh, that's a Brad Baker production, but my team did that. I was not at a rehearsal.
I know that's boss. That's some boss stuff. Like I'm at every rehearsal. You don't know?
If you follow my page, I come in real quick for 5 minutes, get a quick behind the scenes clip, and I leave out. I leave the professionals to do what they do, and then I leave out. I talked to Walter. We went over the script prior for like 2 months to see, all right, do we got everything we need? Are we missing anything? And we found out what we need. After that, that's yours. Now I got to work on the marketing and stuff like that. So yeah.
Right. I mean, you right now, you already at the boss level. When you don't have to go to rehearsals, I'm grinding at every rehearsal, bringing in snacks, you know.
That's trust right there, because you know, if you just have trust in your people, and you to know that, okay, I don't even have to show up. I know they got me. So that's awesome.
Well, they getting paid too.
They getting paid too.
They getting paid too.
I pay my staff. Like I make sure I pay them. You got to take care of your team. If anything, I'd rather not make money and make sure they get paid.
Right, but this is still your vision.
Right.
And so for you to entrust them with your vision and not to be present and seeing how are things going, that's trust.
Yeah,
that is trust.
That's trust. Some people be like,
yeah, I'm a little controlling sometimes too, but
I'm too controlling.
You got that trust. I got control. I'm really
too controlling.
But I kind of like, I had to. It was stressing me out that I was so controlling.
Right.
And you have to let those hats go, because if you don't, you'll drive yourself crazy.
Yes.
And then when you're chasing one thing, another thing blows up, instead of just putting people in place to watch all the exits.
Absolutely.
Instead of you trying to say, oh, this is one fire, let me go here. Oh, it's another fire. I can just take care of that.
And I'm a perfectionist, so you know it's really hard for me to let go. I will delegate, but I'm on you. You know, I'm constantly on you, especially when my name is behind something. Right. You know, you have Brad Baker Productions behind this. You know, you're out there trying to get your name out there, your brand, and so it has to be right. You know, I know a lot of things, you know, might, you know, happen along the way, and you fix it, but it's still your brand, and you don't want your brand to be in any negative light.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, and I make sure that's why I put it's a grueling thing. I'm really good on observation. Is probably one of my my biggest strengths, is I keep observation. When I talk to people, I look at body language. I'm big on signs, so I ask you what your sign is, so I know how hard you're gonna work for me, or what I might think your weakness is, or things of that nature. But it's a grueling process. It's just not like, hey, can I work for you? Wow. It's like, all right, give me some examples. What can you do? All right, here's a task. Let me see if you can do that. Right. And if you're able to bring me back the task that I need, and it's right, then we go from there. But it's a grueling process, because Walter DeShields has been my director to all my things. Mm-hmm. We have a strict vision on how it is. If you don't want to come in here and work hard, then we don't need you.
Right.
Because we're building from the ground up. You know, I'm using all local actors. I don't use any. I can go pay for a major name like Vivica Fox or somebody like that, but in the mix, could have paid for you to come in and do it. But I just chose to just do it the ground way. I study a lot of people. Charlie Mack, I had a really good conversation with him when I first started doing it. He was like, yo, if you really want to do this, you need to go study everybody that's great from top to bottom. You need to study scripts, and you need to go back to school. I did all of the above. And then he was at my show like,
Yeah.
all right, when I come back, we need to talk about making this in a movie or whatever the case may be.
That was my next question.
And I was like, all right, we go. But yeah, I wrote movies before. I got a bank heist called Imperfect Fate that I wrote. That's really, really good. And then I got a bunch of plays that I wrote. I took like 2 years off to write, just to get my writing in process. And I wrote 3 plays within that time frame, and I'm just ready to roll from there. Just getting
So I know you have Letters of a Mistress.
Yeah, Letter from a Mistress.
Coming up in
2 Truths and a
spring.
Lie. Yeah.
This spring.
Yep. So that's about 3 couples that are married, and a letter drops that one of them are sleeping with one of their husbands, and you got to figure out who's sleeping with who. It's a lot
Is it
of.
casted already?
No, it is not casted. I do auditions for everything. Like, I just don't cast anybody. When I got into plays, I got a lead role in a big play. I got paid $1,000 to do it. I never forget it. So I was just trying out for a play. It was like I was in this short film, and they was like, "Hey, won't you come try out for this play?" I'm like, "All right." So I was just trying to get on stage and say, "Hey, how you doing?" And then walk off the stage and be like, "Mom, I was on the play."
Right.
So happy. And then I ended up getting the lead role. So I was like, "Hold up." So I always kept that in the back of my mind. So like, you never know what gem you
Absolutely.
may find by having someone in the background. So I have an open audition for everybody. Of course, I know a lot of people in the Philadelphia acting world that are really, really good, but I leave that open for everybody. And we have, every time I cast, we have at least 60 to 70 people that come out.
Wow, that's great. Well, Lynette's here. She's an actress. She was in my play, Twisted Seasons. So, yeah.
I prefer to do TV and film.
Really? Oh, because the cut.
over stage.
I love that stage. I like the energy of the stage. I like writing.
I like stage, but it's time consuming for an actress.
Yeah, because you got to memorize. It's active listening.
Exactly.
It's listening.
And you have to rehearse on your own time, and then you have to go to rehearsal.
Right.
So it's like,
That's
Yeah, it's
accelerating. That's next level acting when you're able to do that. So then when you go to TV and film,
It's nothing.
It's nothing.
Yeah, it's
just
nothing.
bigger. You just dial it down. And it's simple.
A quick question for you. For all your people that you know that have some kind of connections, how do you feel that they are supportive to you?
Like family and friends.
Well, it could be family, friends, or just people that's in the industry. You go to them, you say, "Hey, I got this," because I have a lot of people around me that I know that can make some power moves for me,
Right.
but don't. So I'm asking you, do you?
Right. You got to try.
sometimes people are like, this
Yeah,
information.
Yeah, they are. I'm not like that because it's a lot of people like that. You have to stick to your process because they will come back. We have a mantra in there. They have to they're going to want to cross this bridge again, and that's not a cocky thing. It's like we try to reach out to certain people to do certain things, but they don't believe it because they don't see what you see until everyone sees it.
Right.
I try to reach out to a lot of people. Some people, they're real helpful with certain things, but others aren't.
Right.
But that's a part of my team and trusting them. So say, hey, they're not going to let us go through this door. Well, let's figure out how we can get through the back door ourselves.
Absolutely.
And get in the building ourselves, whether it be a window or a crack in the door.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what I
Because if you're waiting on somebody else, you never get the opportunity. Some people are so stingy when it comes to that, and I hate in our culture that we do that to each other.
Absolutely.
Because if I got information, I'm willing to give you everything I got. I will give you my set designer, my production team,
Right, absolutely.
my director, my whatever. I always want them to grow. I always want them. My actors, you want an actor's name? You interested in someone? Or Brad, how did you do that? How did you come up with that concept? What do you do as far as writing?
Absolutely.
I'm willing to get that all. We're actually about to open up a studio to teach performing arts, to teach children and adults how to do the things I do. I want them to know my process from beginning to end. And it's a lot of hard work. You know what I mean? You got to be willing to put in the time. Like, we put in a lot of time. People just see the bang and the glory and the money spent on commercials and
Right, absolutely.
TV and radio,
So this last one, how did you? I know you were saying that the first couple of times you lost out, and the second time you broke even. So how was this last production for you?
Exactly how the process was going from the beginning to end. It's just exactly how we're on pace on what we're doing.
Right.
So this was a stepping stone to where we were going.
Right, absolutely.
That sold out
Awesome.
show. All right, we're not losing so much money on self-inflicted wounds. Like, this is transparency. My last play, Twisted Reloaded, we probably lost maybe $12,000 in negligence of things that we could have prevented.
Wow.
But without the knowledge,
it was worth every penny. That $12,000 was not to say it's nothing. $12,000 is a lot of money, but that knowledge that I gained for it. They same thing when we only had 100 people, and I was like, I had a partner with me. He was so upset. I was like, what? You can have whatever money is left over. I'm like, what we just learned this time, we got it. We're gonna build off of this. And some people don't see it. I see it. I was like, oh, we got it. And the same thing happened this time, and then we built off. We'll learn. We'll have our rap meeting. It's probably a bunch of stuff we learned from. I know we learned a lot this time around. You know.
What is your sign?
I'm a Capricorn.
Capricorn. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Christmas Day baby. yeah, everything.
Would you turn it into a web series?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a web series. I'm gonna do a bunch of stuff. So people push me to do certain things, so I'm gonna start doing them. So I'm gonna do web series, stage plays. I'll do movies. For me, with movies, I don't want a low budget movie. I want some money behind me when I do my movies. I want cars flipping over. I want to see bullets drop. I want fire. I want it done right. You know, perfectionists like me. Web series, I can do that.
Well,
I can do a little four.
If you're auditioning for a web series, I'm interested.
I'm gonna do a web series, so I'm gonna hold you to that. Yeah. So I'm gonna probably do a web series. I got a couple things after we finish up the last little details, the letter from a mistress. Then we'll go in. I just see, and I'm probably gonna write a spinoff to Chasing Cash with those hilarious Mr. Tony and Mr. Bernard. So I'm gonna probably write something like that.
Right, absolutely. Because everybody,
they're crazy. But I knew that. I knew it when I was writing it. I was like, oh, this is funny. Like,
well, you know, with me, with both my Olivia Lawson Turned Out as well as Twisted Seasons, I just need comedy relief in everything that I do, you know, and I think that helps, even though the storyline is really good and there's some drama going on, you know, and even with yours, you know, Chasing Cash, but that comedy relief really, really helps out, you know, and yeah, absolutely. So what can people, do you have any more questions for
nope, that's my last question.
Okay. How can people follow you?
You can follow me on at Brad Baker Productions on Instagram, and then my Facebook page is Brad Baker Productions. On Facebook, you can like there. That's all my information is on there. My website is bradbakerproductions.com, so I got a bunch of stuff on there. I don't have a Twitter handle. Facebook, I'm Brad Baker, but I don't got no more room on my friends list. Like, not to say I have like over 5,000 friends on there.
Well, I started deleting people.
When do you anticipate bringing out?
Letter from a Mistress?
Yes.
We're working on that now. So we're probably, I want to say April-ish, probably late April. We'll probably do it, maybe early May. I don't want to go into Mother's Day weekend. I try to do something like that. I did Father's Day weekend before Mother's Day weekend. We'll figure it out probably March. I want to do probably late March, maybe April, because I don't even want to play with the snow, so we don't even like that March, that April, that mid-April, probably after Easter time as we do it, because we do a lot of studying when we do that too. We do research, like, all right, what's coming up, what's around this date, what are we having, what's going to conflict with us, all right, will this go, you know, go with our stuff. I didn't even know it was another play, not to be arrogant, but I didn't know it was another play this past weekend.
It was a couple of plays this past weekend. Guy's Trombone.
That's why I was on the show the other day with Guy's Trombone, and I met the guy who was in it. And I was like, wow, I'm one of those people. I'm not one of those that'll step on your toes.
Right.
Like, well, we got a show. Well, the show must go on.
Right.
We just got stuck because I had a theater already booked. In the last minute, they pulled the rug on us. I had so much adversity. They pulled the rug on us and was like, nope, you ain't got it. I was like, what are we going to do?
Right.
I'm not going another year without a play.
Right.
Yeah, and they just pulled everything from us. So I was like, we gotta find something, and then we end up doing it. Like, it's so much adversity in this stuff. People don't see it. I don't flinch, and that's part of being the captain of the ship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep the calmness of it, and we keep the flow of it. I got my team on. I'm not gonna say I'm always calm. My team keep me calm because I'm ready to flip sometimes.
Yeah, you have to. It does happen. It does happen. But my advice will always be stay true to yourself.
Absolutely.
Stay humble.
Absolutely.
Continue to give God the praise because without Him, none of this would be possible.
Absolutely.
And the devil going to always be busy. He's always going to throw a thorn in your side, and you got to be like brush it off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, and keep it moving because I've been there, done that. And prayerfully we'll be able to work together.
Absolutely.
And and create something great. And I thank you so much. It was her in this web series.
Because you gotta find a right video.
I was in a web series called The Man Code with Derek Shaw, and I was also in a web series called Love Happens. So I enjoyed it.
I seen a web series, probably my favorite web series out. Issa Rae wrote it, or or Black and Sexy TV. One of those wrote it, where Issa Rae came from. It's called Roomy Lover Friends. And that was the first web series I seen where I was like, oh, if I'm going to shoot a web series, it got to be like this, because the camera angles with the videographers, because, you know, sometimes those things are pretty bad. Shout out to my man Tony.
In terms of
the camera angles and stuff like that. With the camera angles and things of that nature, like how it's shot, how it looks like TV, instead of posing like
Right.
Like quick, hard cuts that I can shoot on my iPhones. Yeah.
So check out a web series that I am assistant producer called Single and Anxious.
Single and Anxious.
Single and Anxious.
On
YouTube, yes.
How many seasons are one?
It's 2 seasons. I joined the team on a 2nd season, and we just finished shooting our 3rd season. So the premiere becoming. The episodes is 6.
Okay.
Yep, 6 episodes. So check it out.
How long are they?
I would say, yeah.
I'm watching because I'm trying to take it. You know, I want to see how long it is. Like, no, but they're really, really good. You know, shot right. My friend Tony, he has one called Old Heads, and his is shot so good. Like,
right.
But yeah, I'm definitely gonna get in a web series and film. My film got to be right, so I'm gonna pitch mine to somebody. I'm gonna take Clayton's thing, and I'm gonna come in there, tape, and say, "Hello, hey, I'm right now. We're on a recorded line right now.
You don't know?
NDA.
Yes.
I'm about to share to you my pitch.
Right.
I'm gonna be doing that from now on.
Yeah, absolutely.
NDA, we're gonna have it. What's the name? I'm signing you, telling we're going to discuss such and such day. You have to sign this in order for us to discuss my. I'm doing that from now on because I'm big on contracts. Everybody gets a contract.
Absolutely.
They call me Diddy when it comes to the contracts. I put everything. My contracts are crazy. Like for my actors, you have to come off book. If you don't come off book about time I give it to you, that's $300 fine off of your thing, and then it's $50 a day every day after until you get on book.
Well, that's motivation.
Yeah, you don't know. That's definitely motivation. Absolutely.
I give them the script like they start in October. I gave them the script in July, so you got plenty of time.
That's how me too. I give them plenty of time. They be like, for each other. I'm like, listen. I need y'all to be right. You know. Yeah, you was the first one.
Off book as an actor, I always come off book. When I used to act with Walter and Ronnie and them, I remember the first time because Ronnie and them are really good. So I was like, yo, I get to act with them. I'm coming off book.
Right.
You set the tone with everybody. When you see you off book, then you can really the acting can come about because you know the acting thing is.
So I definitely see much success in your future.
You.
I want to thank you for coming on the Real Recognized Real Show and sharing your story. I need you to come back. When you get big, not if you get big. Don't act like you can't come back on our show because we might be still sitting here unless we blow up too.
I'll be back.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm big on speaking things into existence. So
right, absolutely.
I know you guys are going places, but I'm never too big for nothing. I will come back and we can talk about every play. I appreciate this platform. I appreciate you guys.
And sorry we didn't have the cast in, before the production, but we're going to have definitely next time. Remember us because we want to follow you through your journey.
Absolutely.
And we're here for anything that you might need. Yes, such an influence.
That was my guy. Yes.
Dora, long live Dora. Yes, miss him.
When Dora came before we wrap up, Dora was like, he came to Twisted. He was like, I can't believe it. Like, you're really a playwright. Like, this is really what you're destined to do. Like, you got it right. This is so good. I was like, all right.
And he's such a jokester, It's like my last play that he came to, my first one, Olivia Lawson turned out, he gave me kudos on it too. And then we taking a picture. He's behind me with the peace sign, my head and everything. And I'm like, and an awesome ball player,
Amazing ball player.
Yes, amazing. So we want to I'm gonna thank you again from all the family, the Dumas family, for doing this because you didn't have to, for allowing them to come in and just presenting them and honoring Dorian when it was your time to shine, but you still found, in your heart to honor him, and we want to thank you for that. So thank you again for being on the Real Recognized Real, and we want to go out with the song. Living my best life because that's what we're doing right now.
Yes, we are.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Next month we're going to have a fabulous show for you guys. The Holiday Jam where we're going to have different artists come in, spoken word, rap, R&B, dance, and we're going to give you a nice Christmas show. So make sure you guys
again,
And-
December the 11th, 7 p.m.
Yes, make sure you tune in, and we want to thank you again for tuning in tonight. Please share this video, like our page, Real Recognize Real, as well as Philly Hot Radio, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Philly Hot Radio. Thank you again, and we out.